Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Olukoyede, and his secretary, Mohammed Hamajoda, have been confirmed by the Senate. The upper legislative chamber also confirmed the appointment of Halima Shehu as the National Executive Officer of the National Social Investment Program Agency. TVC News has more.
It was a busy day for lawmakers at the Senate. The day's business began with a minor recomposition of the Senate's leadership.
Oyerola, formerly the Deputy Whip of the Senate, has moved out to become the Deputy Leader, courtesy of the majority party, the APC.
The Senate dissolved into the Committee of a Whole to consider President Tinubu's request seeking confirmation for appointment of nominees to serve in various capacities in agencies of government. First to take the stand was Halima Shehu, who has served in various capacities in the banking sector as well as the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. She briefed and answered questions from the curious lawmakers on her new role as the National Coordinator and Chief Executive Officer of the National Social Investment Program.
We will make sure that there is seamless integration and there is free and fair selection across the country for the poorest and the poor, the disabled, and even the senior citizens who fit in this category.
Next to stand before the lawmakers is the nominees for Chairman and Secretary of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Mr. Olukoyede, who was nominated to serve as the chairman of the commission following his wealth of experience, told the lawmakers that he plans to adopt a preventive approach to fighting corruption. He dispelled accusations of selective prosecution and reassured the lawmakers that his tenure will focus on economic development and restoring the dented image of the country.
The time has come for us to begin to look at more of prevention than enforcement. Enforcement is a very strong tool in our hand. We are going to apply it very seriously.
After satisfactorily responding to questions from the lawmakers, they were asked to take a bow from the Senate and their nominations were confirmed. The lawmakers have shelved other legislative duties for the week to make their way down to Akwa Ibom, the Senate President's hometown, where they will be attending a 2-day legislative retreat. TVC News, Abuja.
Executive Director, Center for Public Accountability, Olufemi Lawson, joins us now to discuss the task ahead of the confirmed EFCC leadership. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Lawson. Let's begin with your reaction to the emergence of Mr. Olukoyede and what you consider the tasks ahead of him.
Well, quite clear. Thank you for having me. There was no doubt that, of course, upon his nomination, there have been a lot of issues about the qualification of Mr. Olukoyede for the position of the chairman of the EFCC, considering, the requisite, dictates of the law, the Establishment Act of the EFCC. But so far, so good. There have been arguments and counter-arguments about his qualification, the need for his confirmation by the Senate, and of course, why he's qualified or not by a lot of people, especially legal practitioners across the country. But it is also important that the Senate, in its wisdom, has confirmed Mr. Olukoyede as the substantive executive chairman of the EFCC. But what is most important for us as Nigerians as we speak is the task of repositioning the EFCC. Now that the law-making organ, which actually made the law, stipulating the qualification for the position of chairmanship, has in its wisdom confirmed Mr. Olukoyede as the chairman of the EFCC. What we are looking forward to as Nigerians is the urgent need for the EFCC to take back its place of pride as an anti-corruption agency in Nigeria. The truth is that for anyone who has followed the trajectory of the Commission from the time of its establishment during the days of Malam Nuri Badu to the time of the last chairman of the EFCC, Mr. Rashid Bawa, you will come to agree with me that a lot of things have changed. These have changed because of a lot of disruption in the template upon which the EFCC is supposed to work. I'm most impressed listening to the now new chairman of the EFCC yesterday, when he so much emphasized on the need for us to focus on preventing corruption than turning EFCC, to a fire brigade that has to respond to issues when the deeds have been done. And that is quite impressive, because this has been our position as civil society leaders, as civil society organizations, that we can no longer wait until corruption is perpetrated before we begin to chase these people around and begin to seek plea bargain and begin to seek offers. Today we have seen people who have been in court for 15, 20 years undergoing corruption trial.
Yes, absolutely,
so
Mr.
I'm
Lawson.
very impressed
Mr.
about
Lawson,
the position of the chairman.
If I may butt in quickly. And there was another statement, a remark now that the Senate President made on Wednesday at the screening, and it's that the EFCC has engaged more on sensations than real investigation. So with this new administration now, do you anticipate a change in strategy in operations?
There has to be a change in strategy, not only in ensuring that the FCC does not become a TV show that organizes media trial of suspects and cooperate to an agency that is seriously dealing with corruption. We have had some experiences in the past. I must give credit to the leadership of the EFCC under Malamure Badu, and at some point under Mr. Magu, who actively engaged the civil society, engaged the communities, engaged religious organizations in ensuring that we prevent corruption. In this regard also, it is expected that this leadership would engage, not turning itself to an institution that is engaged in. You see, I was fortunate to be one of the leaders of the coalition of anti-corruption organizations that championed the cause for the removal of the immediate past chairman of the EFCC, Mr. Rashid Wawa. And why did we do this? EFCC became an organ that almost became a court on its own. EFCC became an institution that gives disregard to orders of the court, that doesn't respect the orders of the court. It goes on the media almost every day, prosecuting suspects and calling Nigerians who are found to have been involved, rather than focusing on the job. So this time around, I would want Nigerians, particularly the media and the civil society, to actively look at how they can support the effort of the EFCC in doing more in preventing corruption. How do we do this? I think EFCC under Mr. Olukoyede must not be looking forward to when a minister or a director will be brought before it as a matter of petition for stealing public funds. EFCC must be involved in the process of our budget making, in the process of our budget implementation, because if you look at the number of money, close to about 3 million, as said by the chairman himself yesterday, that have been stolen under the guise of procurement and public project execution in Nigeria, you should be disturbed as a Nigerian, because these are things that can be prevented. How do you just watch somebody loading budget that should have been 10 billion naira as a project to the tune of 30 billion, and we allow such to go through to the point of implementation, and these monies are stolen, they will not come back and start taking them to the court.
So you believe, Mr. Lawson, that prevention is key in the fight against corruption? I would like to get your position about another angle. It does appear that every EFCC chairman that comes on board lives with some level of stain, if I may use that word. How do you see that, and how can it be corrected? What are your expectations from Mr. Olukoyede?
My expectations are that, though not because he has served as the secretary and not because he has been touted as a clergy, my expectations are that Mr. Olukoyede, being a lawyer who has practiced for over 20 years, who understand the dictates of the law, and a lot of times you find lawyers to be people who cherish integrity to a reasonable extent, it is expected that the chairman would look at the integrity of the institution this time around, even more than his own personal integrity. EFCC should become that institution that is not only respected or feared by Nigerians, but it is envied by Nigerians and every other well-meaning minded individuals across the world as an institution that is without stain, that is without blemish, that can be made a reference point of integrity and discipline. And leadership matters, and that is why the chairman must live above board. in ensuring that not only is he able to demonstrate integrity and readiness for the work, he must ensure that every bad eggs within this institution are sent packing. You cannot have a very good leader because Mr. Olukoyede will not be chairman of EFCC at the headquarters in Abuja and be the zonal commander in Port Harcourt, Lagos or Ibadan. We have to work with a lot of people, and such people must also come with credentials that present them as credible people, that present them as people who have integrity, that present them as team players.
So credibility, credibility should descend from the head to everyone who works with the commission. All right. Executive Director, Center for Public Accountability, Olufemi Lawson. Thank you so much for talking to us on TVC News at 1.
My pleasure always.